Hello, good evening and welcome to News 360 live from our studio here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha Yakubu coming up in the bulletin this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Ghana Health Service improves surveillance at Enum Senior High School in a Sojaman district of the Eastern Region following outbreak of influenza H1N1 in the school.
Also coming up, some residents of Nanakrom and Santor in the Adenta municipality abandoned their homes following devastating impact of last month's flooding.
The Job MA Basic School in Western North Region cries out for help as inadequate furniture takes a toll on academic work.
And on the international front, as protests spread across Togo, authorities restrict internet access nationwide with several protesters injured and others arrested.
Still on the international front, Iran holds funeral for military commanders and nuclear scientists killed in war with Israel. Live on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, all across the world on 3news.com. Stay with us.
We're starting the bulletin from neighboring Togo, where a lot has been happening the last 48 hours and counting. So thousands of young people in Togo have, over the last few days, been protesting on the streets demanding the resignation of President Faure Gnassingbé, whose family has ruled the country for nearly 4 decades. Or for those who don't know what 4 decades is, that's nearly 40 years. The protests, fueled by frustrations over economic hardship, political repression, and lack of democratic reforms, are the most significant challenges to the President Faure Gnassingbé's regime in recent years. The government calls the protests illegal, claiming they threaten public order. Authorities have responded to the protests with a heavy security clampdown. And you can see on your screens how some of the citizens in the country are being treated if they are unfortunately arrested or caught by the security agencies. As protests spread across Togo, authorities have taken the extraordinary step of restricting internet access nationwide. Dozens of demonstrators across major cities, including Lomé, have been arrested over the protests. Human rights organizations have condemned the excesses and the excessive use of force by the security, calling for dialogue and respect for peaceful assembly. Protests leaders remain steadfast despite the crackdown, calling on the international community to support their demand for political change and democratic governance. In a statement released on the 28th of June, the National Alliance for Change, which is the opposition party, saluted the courage of Togolese youth and condemned what it called the blind repression of peaceful protests by the regime. This is quite disturbing, and it must be of concern to Ghanaians as well, because we share a border with Togo, and certainly when these issues escalate, there will be spillovers into Ghana. So security agencies in Ghana and the government, for that matter, is also paying close attention to developments in Togo. But let's get the latest update regarding what's been happening in Togo over the last 48 hours. Edo Komi is chairman of the Martin Luther King movement in Togo. He's joined us for for some conversations on this development. Edom, good evening and thank you for your time. I hope you are safe where you are. Tell us what's been happening in the last 2 days in Togo.
Yeah, well, let's assume that, we are safe as human rights organizations. You know, in Africa, we still have problems when people are protesting, people are demonstrating. So it's not easy to be a human rights defender in Africa, but this is our vision, it's our mission, so it's our duty. So Togo, let's say that since this 6th June, you remember that that was the beginning of this year demonstrating against the new constitution on the Fifth Republic in Togo. But let's say that the recent protest in Togo, sparked by constitutional changes approved in April 2024, reflect deep public frustration with a shift to a parliament system that critics argue could extend President for Nyasingbe rule indefinitely. So protests can be powerful tool for expressing, as you know, to dissent and pushing for accountability, especially when citizens feel excluded from a decision as seen in Togo when the opposition called this constitutional coup d'etat.
Right.
So, however, you know that the youth, actually, let's say that the youth in general from Togo and the diaspora, they are working hard for this demonstration. But you remember that since 2020, there was a ban. There was a ban on demonstrations since 2020.
Yes.
And then there was a violent crackdown like those in June 2025. So, assuming that now not the political parties are not leading these demonstrations, but the youth in general.
Yeah, so that's where I want to find out from you. So we have seen a number of young people on the streets, and you are saying these are not political parties leading the youth. These are the youth in general, and their demand exactly is what? That President Nyasingbe resigns, or they are angry with him because he has asked the Parliament of Togo to reform the constitution so he can stay in power longer. That's their biggest challenge, is that it?
Yeah. Well, that is the problem. But let's say the youth, they say they're hungry, they are jobless, they don't, that social injustice, and then so on and so on. So they think that they are not. The government is not hearing them. Is not taking care of them. And this is 20 years governed by the reign of Nyasingbe. Right. So this is very special for Togo, but those days is very special because sometimes ago, that was the call from the opposition leaders to protest. But now they are the youth, and then they ask for the welfare. They want to live well. They want to have job. Right. They want to be considered as the Togolese population is about more than 50% of the population. They are youth.
Yes,
they are youth. So no, they want the Nyasingbe to get down, right. But they also want that the Togo should be governed not by
finally,
by the democracy, right. Democracy way, and right. Then that is the strategy now. That many artists, many singers, and many activities, web activities from the diaspora, they are working hard for this for this what we are seeing now.
Right, and finally,
for the change, especially.
Finally, have you heard, or has there been any government intervention? Have you heard from any government official maybe trying to engage the youth? Any form of overture from the government side, or there's nothing at all from the president and his administration?
The problem now is The problem for the government is with whom are they going to dialogue? Because the youth, they don't have any, especially any leader.
Right.
Youth, especially, they don't have any leader.
Right.
So with whom are they going to dialogue? Not with the youth, but those people, the youth, they say, Foreign should go. And then the opposition leaders say they are just accompanying them. They are just confirm, let them that they are on the right way.
Right.
So they should go forward. So the problem is very complex now. We remember the minister Gilbert Bawara, minister of works, said last time that Gilbert Bawara.
Okay, Mr. Komi.
You know that the Togolese government is now out. Since then, we don't have any new government, so the government of the Fourth Republic is still working.
Okay. Mr. Komi, thank you so much for speaking to us and giving us those updates. Hopefully in the coming days, we'll try and get more on this. We've been speaking to Edo Komi, who is with the Martin Luther King Institute or movement in Togo.
Let's now turn our attention back here to Ghana, where 3 students of the Nkwanta Senior High School in the Oti region have died following a renewed ethnic conflict in the Nkwanta area. The Nkwanta municipality has been embroiled in a lingering tribal disputes for many years, leading to a number of deaths. The Ghana Education Service, liaising with the acting Oti Regional Director of Education, has in response temporarily closed down the school. The GES has also arranged police escorts to ensure the safe passage of the students to their homes. The Ministry of Education has expressed sadness over the tragic loss of lives in Nkwanta Senior High School following a resurgence of tribal conflicts in the Nkwanta area of the Oti region. We're staying a while longer on this issue. We're going on to Zoom now to speak with Richard Kumadu, who's a fraud and security consultant. He joins us on News360. Good evening, sir. You've mentioned that the current situation calls for a new form of dialogue in resolving the crisis. Tell us what kind of new dialogue approach you recommend for Nkwanta and what is currently happening in the area.
To the extent that community leaders and the traditional chief, together with all those who matter within the space, have failed to curtail this particular conflict and it has re-emerged. It means that the current form has broken down and there has to be new ways. One of the ways is that government must take a centralized position in making sure that we address this conflict, the core root of the conflict, and all those who commit crime hiding behind the conflict will have to be dealt with. Again, government must learn from what happened in Boko, how we started and where we've gotten to now, and make sure the mediation issues we have to deal with in Boko becomes a benchmark in dealing with this particular conflict in the South Nkwanta before it gets out of hand. On the part of security, I understand that curfew has been imposed, but curfews are short-term measures, and we will need a permanent monitoring post at Nkwanta until this conflict is resolved. Not just a monitoring post, but they have to be equipped and they have to be encouraged to do the job and in making sure that security breaches and safety breaches have been curtailed and nailed in the bud. Other than that, the re-emergence will take many more lives and we will be reacting instead of being proactive.
And how about political leaders? Would you think that they need to directly involve themselves in this in order to see improvement in the whole situation?
To the extent that politics divides the people, and politics is very divisive in nature, I wouldn't be surprised there are political undertones in this particular conflict and the re-emergence of it. Political expediencies will favor one group and will disadvantage the other group. Centralized governments will have the power to do that without the key political actors within the space, because they will already become suspicious of one particular group or the other. But what we have not done properly in this country is that chieftaincy and land ownership and entitlements have created problems for us since independence. We have not looked at it collectively and find meaningful ways of dealing with it, and we have played artificial with it. And almost everywhere in this country, you have issues of chieftaincy that has led to the death of many people. And it is the right time. We need to take the bull by the horn and make sure we crack down on criminals who go behind some of these conflicts and commit crimes against our people, and many more will stop dying from conflicts, as we have seen in the South.
Definitely, Mr. Kumado. Hopefully, a solution will be found soon to avert more deaths in Nkwanta. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Richard Kumado is a fraud and security consultant.
The Ghana Health Service says it has improved surveillance at Enum Senior High School in the Sojaman district of the Eastern region. This follows an outbreak of influenza A, which is the H1N1 in the school. Judith Brown has more on this report.
According to a notification from the Eastern Regional Health Directorate, the outbreak was first detected on Wednesday, June 18, 2025, when the Sojaman District Health Directorate received reports of a surge in students exhibiting influenza-like symptoms. A rapid response team was immediately dispatched to the school the following day to investigate and manage the situation. 25 swab samples were taken from affected students and sent to the Nogochi Memorial Institute for medical research. Laboratory results received on Friday, June 27, confirmed 9 positive cases of influenza A, H1N1. In response, health authorities have implemented several measures to contain the outbreak. Deputy Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Moses Jimate, says the situation is currently under control.
We've implemented the various interventions at the schools that will ensure that it doesn't spread outside the school, and then new people also don't get it. So far, the situation is under control.
He further says surveillance teams are on the ground to ensure the influenza does not spread to other secondary schools.
We've disseminated information to GES so that in case they start having cases in any of the schools, they could quickly inform us. In outbreaks like this, the most important thing is to notice the outbreak as early as possible and to nip it in the bud. So as it is now that we know what is happening in this school, where we are controlling, if in case it gets to any of the schools or the community, our surveillance teams are on guard to pick them up and for the necessary interventions to be implemented to control the situation.
For now, there are no plans to close down the secondary school, according to the GHS, and students suspected with influenza have been restricted from leaving the school premises. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
And our residents of Nana Krom and Santor in the Adenta municipality have abandoned their homes following the devastating impact of last month's flooding. Stanley Niblo reports that other affected residents are still salvaging their property, hoping for drastic interventions to prevent future occurrences.
Help me! Please help me!
On May 18, 2025, torrential rain devastated Nana Krom and adjoining suburbs after key drainage channels meant to convey water out of the community were clogged. The result was catastrophic. Water overflowed its banks and surged into homes. Flats and low-lying apartments bore the brunt of the floods, with electronic appliances, vehicles, furniture and personal items destroyed. Tragically, 2 lives were lost. Residents say flooding is an annual ordeal, but this year's episode was unprecedented. Abdul Ghaffar and his family have been residing here for over 2 decades and are still reeling from the distraction.
But the
flood waters rising to the lintel level of our buildings, we lost all our belongings. No one in the neighborhood was able to salvage anything.
A month on, TV3 returned to the community to assess the extent of damage and understand how residents are rebuilding. In the community, vast marshy lands have been filled and developed by private individuals, disrupting the area's natural water flow. Some homes still hold stagnant flood water. Debris from the incident lies scattered, while salvaged belongings dry under the sun. The visible devastation has forced some residents to vacate entirely, while others who cannot afford to relocate are renovating and repairing what's left of their homes. Assemblyman for the area, Bright Afedo, expressed deep concern.
Actually, after the rains, situations have not been easy with the community people. Most of the people have also moved out of the area because of the devastating experience they've had. Most people are not able to even stand on their feet again because they lost everything actually to the flood. So now, as we speak, NADMO has not even brought any relief items to the people who were affected. Okay. And it has been a general concern of the people that this is something that were not caused by they themselves.
Meanwhile, community youth have taken the initiative to desilt choked gutters in hopes of easing future flooding. However, a pedestrian footbridge across the major storm drain, vital for daily commuting, was also destroyed, making movement within the area difficult, especially for school children. With no state attention to their plight, parents have devised their own means to help their children cross the stream to school daily when no good Samaritans are available to assist. Calls for the demolition of buildings erected on watercourses have grown louder, but not all residents support the idea, citing limited housing options.
You know, those who are not feeling the heat of the flood, they are calling for it, that there should be demolition around the water bags. And those who are living near the gutter are also opposing it. So the regional minister, in her capacity, will have to make a firm decision.
The flooding in Nanakrom and Santor has once again exposed the dire need for sustainable urban planning and proactive disaster mitigation. As the community continues to recover, residents are calling for urgent government intervention, stricter enforcement of building regulations, and a comprehensive drainage solution to ensure such devastation does not recur. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
The Ajum MA Basic School in the Western North region is struggling to provide a conducive learning environment for its pupils due to inadequate furniture and the absence of an ICT center. Matthew Ahiave reports that some pupils sit on cement blocks while others lie on the floor to write.
This is the daily struggle of pupils at Ajum MA Basic School. Classes are conducted under difficult conditions owing to standard furniture. Pupils are compelled to improvise in order to write. Sometimes mats are laid for classes. ICT facilitators are forced to use their personal phones as a teaching tool.
We don't have any gadget concerning ICT or computing. So in teaching the subject, it becomes very difficult. Learners do not have access to these materials, and at the end of the day, they are going to write the same exams for learners in the urban centers. So we are appealing to governments and NGOs to come to our aid.
The school prefect Hafiz Gilbert Asana appealed for urgent support from the government and NGOs.
The main problem we are facing in this school includes lack of furniture. We don't have ICT centers, so we are appealing to the government and NGOs to come to our aid.
The headmaster also called on government and corporate organizations to urgently intervene and improve the infrastructure of the school.
We don't have enough dual desks in the classroom. Learners have to sit on blocks, write on blocks. Look at the challenges. Even before some of them get to the house, some of them might have hurt before they go because some of the blocks fell on them and harmed them. The structures are not good. Even if it's raining, the school have to close down and go. The kids to have to be allowed to go to the house and come the next day. It's also disturbing our teaching and learning. So we are pleading to government to come to our aid.
Assembly member for Ajom electoral area, Besma Kofi, appealed with government to intervene and provide the necessary supports.
Three former senior officials linked to the Ghana Revenue Authority Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited contract were this week arrested by the Special Prosecutor amid investigations into alleged corruption and procurement breaches. While the OSP continues its probe into the matter, legal experts say the case highlights the urgent need for prosecutorial action and review of procurement laws.
The press conference has received mixed responses from the public. On his Facebook page on Wednesday, June 25, a fellow in Public Law and Justice at the Ghana Center for Democracy.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor this week announced the arrest of former Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Ayisha Yakubu. Also arrested was the former Commissioner of Customs and current General Manager Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, Isaac Krentel, as well as Christian Tete Soti, former Technical Advisor and now Managing Director, CEO of SML. The arrests, according to the OSP, were linked to ongoing investigations into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences in respect of contract between the GRA and SML for revenue assurance services. Speaking of the key point, a former director of the Ghana School of Law, Kweku Ansan Asare, urged judges to analyse the Procurement Act before they apply the law. He argues that some of the things captured in the Procurement Act may not be offensive.
I hear the court begins with a mindset. And the moment that mindset, is consummated, there's conviction. I think the approach is wrong. That we must, our court, our judges must, do a bit of analysis, before implementing provisions of the Procurement Act, because some of the things may not be, offenses, but because they arise from the Procurement Act. It is assumed that an offense
has been committed.
Yes.
For private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu, the Office of the Special Prosecutor must quickly prosecute the person arrested in a strategic mobilization deal.
Arrest good, but please, we all know, you can arrest somebody and keep him in custody for 100 years. If the case doesn't go to court and if he's not convicted, we haven't done anything against his record. So I won't celebrate too much the arrest, because the arrest in itself is not a criminal conviction. So I'd rather continue to urge OSP to double up and then let's enter court.
A constitutional lawyer, John Kwame Kwasin, who was also on the key point, called for a review of the Public Procurement Act.
So if you trace the history, we see element of this, just because there are loopholes in our laws that any executive arm of government can exploit every now and then to loot, to create loot and then what? Share among themselves. Oftentimes, we will be zeroing in and then focusing on only 2 or 3 CEOs. But then if you dig deeper, you come to the realization that it might come from some unseen hands.
And we hope that the OSP's...
The Office of the Special Prosecutor is said to be examining the procurement processes, the scope of services rendered, and the justification for payment made under the GRA SML contract. The OSP is also seeking to verify SML's claims that its operations have resulted in significant revenue savings for the country. The outcome of these investigations could have far-reaching implications for public procurement accountability and revenue assurance in Ghana, ensuring that the public purse is protected to benefit the ordinary Ghanaian whose hard work funds such payments.
Now, the suspended Chief Justice's press conference has sparked mixed reactions. Legal experts are sharply divided on its legality and implications for the judicial integrity. While critics argue that it undermines constitutional processes, her supporters are calling for transparency and due process. Here is a News Desk report on unfolding events thus far.
The press conference has received mixed responses from the public. On his Facebook page on Wednesday, June 25, a fellow in Public Law and Justice at the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Professor Stephen Kweku Asare, stated that the suspended Chief Justice had no license to flout the law simply because she disagreed with the committee constituted to probe the petitions against her. Renowned lawyer Thaddeus Sori, counsel for one of the petitioners, also noted in a Facebook write-up that precedents and constitutional provisions invalidate the Chief Justice's concerns, raising broader questions about her understanding of basic legal principles. In the opinion of the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, and lawyer Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, the press conference was illegal.
That is plain illegality. Cleverly, she puts the content of the petition in public and try to excite a public conversation on the merits, which invariably would defeat the constitutional reason for the in-camera hearing.
Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu is of the view that the press conference has brought up many topics that the system can't contain.
As a society, when it comes to talking about the judiciary, etc., it's a taboo topic generally. It's a taboo topic. But you see that with we are breaking it gradually. But with this press conference, too many boundaries have been broken. So now you see that the conversation is gone higher. And the way it's gone higher, you know, so many imputations of wrongdoing and etc. It kind of affects the system. It looks like this press conference has broken too many boundaries.
According to a former director of the Ghana Law School, Ansar Sari, the press conference was a sign of disrespect to the president. He wants the embattled Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, to apologize.
The president set up the committee. Any attack, any onslaught is directed at the president. So she ought to know that what she was doing was disrespectful to the fair gentleman. And that's why I say that she should eat a humble pie and apologize to the whole nation.
According to the suspended Chief Justice, the decision to conceal the process from public view undermines confidence in the judiciary and violates the basic principles of due process. Appointed in June 2023, Justice Tokonu is Ghana's third female Chief Justice. The nation is waiting with bated breath for the outcome of the Article 146 committee hearing, no matter the result.
In more news this evening, the Ghana Armed Forces says it has reinforced measures to contain the violent attacks in Boko and its exportation to Binduri and neighboring areas. The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu, who revealed this during a one-day working visit to the area, said the army has managed to bring the resurgence under control and is continuing with peacekeeping efforts. Upper East Regional Correspondent Castro Senyala has more in the following report.
We, on our part, definitely will do what it takes to ensure that we put the necessary measures in place to enhance their operational efficiency. Specifically in Binduri here, I would say that Binduri has been in the news for some time due to some incidents of killings in the area. Based on that, we have focused some attention over here, and the battalion has actually taken the necessary step to actually re-establish and increase their footprints in the area and also extend their operational outreach. So I've just come here to see how the place is, encourage the troops to keep giving their best, and then we will support them and ensure that within the Binduri community, we maintain security and sanity in the area. Thank you very much.
In a society where starting a family was once considered a natural step into adulthood, more and more men today appear to be pressing pause on fatherhood. Whether shaped by personal ambition, economic realities, or shifting cultural norms, the path to becoming a father is evolving. In this special report, Safwa Boahene takes a closer look at why fatherhood is being delayed and what this change means for individuals, families, and the future of parenting in Ghana.
The journey to fatherhood is no longer a race against time, or so it seems. Today's man is more likely to pursue financial stability, career success, or personal freedom before choosing to start a family. Fatherhood, once seen as a milestone of early adulthood, is looking different these days. In urban areas, it's not unusual to find men in their 30s or even 40s who are still not fathers. For some, it's a matter of choice. For others, a lot of factors come to play.
It stems from the economic circumstances of the current situation that we have in the country, where there's a lot of youth unemployment. Being a father comes with a lot of responsibilities. So if you are going to become a father, you need to have the resources.
Some are scared of fatherhood because, one, they are not up to that standard. They think they are not yet ready. So anytime there is a pregnancy case or whatever, they try to skip away.
Fatherhood,
is full of responsibilities. If you want to be a father, you need to be ready for responsibilities. That's how I see it. People who would like to have fun with ladies, but they don't want to be a father, that means they don't know what they're all about.
It's a topic that sits between culture, economy, and personal readiness. The 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey reveals that the median age at first marriage for men is 27.7 years compared to 21.8 years for women. In urban areas, the trend is even more pronounced, with women giving birth for the first time at 23.4 years on average, 2.6 years later than their rural counterparts. So what does this mean for fatherhood?
Age of first marriage for women is 21 years, while that for men is 27 years. So men marry at a later age than women. So that gives us an idea of late fatherhood. If you look at Ghanaian culture, women now also contribute to the maintenance of their families or their household. But the cultural expectation is that it is the male or the husband, the father, who bears the bulk of this responsibility. So what that means is that before a man decides to become a father, he must make sure that he can financially provide for his children.
But while the social clock may be changing, is the biological one staying the same? That's a question health professionals are beginning to speak up about.
There are certain factors that influence men's production. From the age of 35 to 40, scientifically proven that the production of semen or the quality of it starts reducing. 30% of the population of men or fertility cases that have been reported so far, we have about 25% that is undefined. We don't know the cause.
Experts also point to lifestyle as the silent factor.
Our lifestyles. For instance, the food we eat now, we sprayed with chemicals, the environment, the stress level, the lifestyle like smoking, drinking, and all that. Science has proven that a number of it affects the production of the sperm. When you talk about the morphology, the shape of a sperm that can help to produce kids is being affected due to this. Even the movement a sperm is supposed to swim, it affects the quality of the sperm, the number, and then the quantity of sperm.
So, is delayed fatherhood a cause for concern or just another version of progress? Opinions differ, but one thing is certain: fatherhood today is no longer just about age. It's about intention, readiness, and the world men find themselves in. Safwa Boyne, TV3 News, Accra.
Moving on, Vice President Professor Jenanu Pokuajiman has assured the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II, who also serves as Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, that the university's long-abandoned teaching hospital will be completed. She made the promise during the 58th Special Congregation of the university, which was graced by the King of Eswatini, His Majesty Mswati III.
For many years, work on the iconic Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology KNUST Teaching Hospital project has stalled. The major setback has been funding. The project started in 2007 in the erstwhile John Ejekum Kufuor regime, while phase 1 of the facility remains stalled up to date. Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II was the project completed.
My next teaching hospital is still not finished, even though there has been tremendous progress. And I'm passionate about this project because of the peculiar purpose it is meant to serve. When finished, it will complement the Konvanochi Teaching Hospital in the training of medical and allied health students of NUST. So, Madam Vice President, please impress on His Excellency the President to prioritize this essential project and expedite its completion.
Speaking at the 58th Special Congregation at KNUST, Vice President Professor Jean Nana Opoku-Agyeman assured the Asantehene the current administration will complete the project.
You spoke about completion of teaching hospital. That cannot be more important. It's very, very important. And I want to assure you that I take this concern to the President, and I have no doubt that he will take the right steps on it.
Special guest of honor, King of the Kingdom of Eswatini, His Majesty King Mswati III, urged the graduates to apply their knowledge to create jobs and transform society.
You have not only acquired knowledge, but you have also learned how to think critical, solve problems, and innovate. Your education has prepared you not just to adapt to change, but to lead it. The world today is all about technology and artificial intelligence. We look up to you to lead us with the new norm we are faced with.
Over 8,000 students graduated during the 58th Special Congregation, comprising more than 3,000 undergraduates and 4,965 postgraduates.
A stretch of the Suni Atron Road has become a hotspot for armed robbers, turning it into a deadly route for motorists. In a recent attack, a Sprinter driver was shot and killed by armed robbers along the Atron Road. Drivers are now raising alarm over the worsening security situation on the stretch and other major roads in the region. Here's a report by Claude Kumi Ebisa.
The Suni Atron Road, once a busy transit route, has now become a nightmare for drivers following years of neglect and poor security. Armed robbers are taking advantage of the abandoned state of the road, attacking motorists with impunity. The latest victim, a Sprinter driver who was shot by robbers on Friday evening, sparking fear among commercial drivers and residents of Atron who ply the route.
Anytime that you want to go to, you can't. Yeah, so the road is not good, and we are seeking for help from the government. That if only he can do something to help us, because you cannot even get car around 2:30. You cannot, because of the armed robbers, because of what is going on this way.
We are just appealing to them. At least they should come and patch the road for us, or else the other places that are very deteriorated, they should come and just remove the bitumen for us, so that we see that we are using a feeder road. Because now we can't say that this is a tiled road or it's a feeder road. So we are just pleading to them that they should come and do something about this for us.
The situation is not limited to the Suni Atron stretch. Drivers also report increasing robberies on the Sunyani Wenchi and Sunyani Brekum roads. However, in a bold and proactive move to ensure the safety of residents and travelers, Chairman of the Bono Regional Security Council, RECSEC, and Regional Minister Joseph Adai Akwabwa has intensified security efforts along the Sunyani Atron and Sunyani Brekum roads, two of the region's busiest and most vital transport routes. In a visit to the community by the Regional Security Council during road checks, the Bono Regional Minister allayed the fears of the people with assurance of enhanced security. We came to inspect where the recent robbery happened and assess the road for advice and the needed action to be taken to bring a stop to robbery activities on the routes. I assure you that there will be no robbery on this road again as I live here. Moreover, in a move aimed at bolstering night security on the Sunyani Atron Road, the regional minister conducted a surprise night check to ascertain the effectiveness of the police operations in the area. The initiative comes in response to increased public outcry regarding the safety on the road after a series of reported incidents that have raised alarm among commuters and residents alike.
Away from that, AngloGold Ashanti mine has wrapped up its World Environment Month activities with a forum on reducing plastic waste, educating local stakeholders on best practices. Acting Managing Director Abraham Osei Bedu has emphasized the mine's commitment to sustainability, highlighting the ban on single-use plastics across its premises. Irama Smith has more in the following report.
World Environment Day 2025 was celebrated on June 5 with the theme, Beat Plastic Pollution. The event aimed to raise awareness about plastic waste's environmental impact and encourage collective action. AngloGold Ashanti Ayisha mine marked the occasion with a durbar. Acting Managing Director Abraham Osebedu emphasized on the urgency of addressing plastic pollution. Citing World Bank data, he noted Ghana's significant plastic waste challenge, with 86% of waste being plastic and 250,000 metric tons ending up in the ocean yearly. He cautioned that without action, there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean by 2050. Contributing to address the challenge, he noted that the mine has implemented a ban on single-use plastics across its premises.
As a mine, we are committed to making a positive contribution towards an enduring world. In line with this commitment, we took a bold decision in October 2023 to ban single-use plastics on site. The ban has resulted in the complete stoppage of usage of take-away packs, disposable cups, spoons, etc. across all canteens and our restaurants.
He also disclosed that the mine has launched a successful recycling program, collecting plastic bottles via giant bins strategically placed across the site. Additionally, all on-site waste is mandatorily segregated at source, with recyclables separated for future recycling, a significant portion of which is plastic.
I challenge each one of us to commit to the plastic pollution pledge by practicing reuse items. Make sure you carry your own reusable bags, bottle containers, and other durable items instead of single-use plastics.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Idiapum.
Guinness Ghana, through its Smov brand, has launched Smov in the Mix, a series of exclusive house parties and DJ-powered street carnivals. The main edition of Smov in the Mix was held at Kokomlemle in Accra.
Remember, you must be 18 to be this place.
Smov is turning up the volume on Ghana's party scene with the launch of Smov in the Mix, a fresh initiative designed to celebrate DJs as the heartbeat of every party. The concept features monthly house parties with top DJs at secret locations, giving Smov lovers an exclusive party experience. It all began with a street carnival at Kokomlemle. Fans are being encouraged to follow Smov Ghana on social media for invites to upcoming events. The party does not stop there. Smov says it all leads to a massive street carnival in December to crown the year-long celebration. Marketing manager of spirits and ready-to-drink at Guinness Ghana, Nanaya Amoa-Owusu, highlighted the purpose of the event and how it builds on Smirnoff's existing partnership with the Ghana DJ Awards, now branded as the Guinness Ghana DJ Awards, powered by Smirnoff.
Smirnoff, for the past 2 years, we partnered with the Ghana DJ Awards, which is now Guinness Ghana DJ Awards, powered by Smirnoff, because we believe that DJs are the life of the party, and Smirnoff is also the life of the party. So for us, this partnership has been able to help us to really reach out to the larger DJ fraternity in Ghana. So a whole lot that we have done. We also have Smirnoff Ice Dome, which goes to campuses, where we also use campus DJs to put a spotlight on them. So we sat down and said, what else can we do? And we thought about how do we put the DJs in the mix. We came about with the name Smirnoff in the Mix. So Smirnoff in the Mix is a house party with DJs, with your favorite DJs, where very exclusive, we bring in lovers of Smirnoff into a house every month where they end up partying with their favorite DJs. And then we crown the series off with a big street carnival. Month we are going to have a house party with your favorite DJ at a coded location. So if you want to be part of that house party, follow all our social media platforms at Smirnoff Ghana. And then at the end of the year, we will crown it off with a street carnival. So December, watch out for something exclusive.
All right, you're still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have the latest in the world of sports after this. Some sports stories now, and Emmanuel Saki, born deaf and dumb, recently became the UBO super featherweight champion after defeating an able-bodied opponent, breaking barriers and challenging a person who can actually do much better. Bill Ishan paid a visit to him and tells his story.
Emmanuel Mankata Saki left the Hydrowite Event Center in Dansoman as the new UBO Continental Africa Super Featherweight Champion. Born deaf and dumb, he dominated Nigeria's able-bodied Yusuf Mohammed Olalekong in 5 rounds, delivering a technical knockout. It was his 9th victory in 13 professional bouts, and the vibrant crowd who watched Saki land punch after punch cheered at the top of their voices as the young man received the belt. Silence remained Saki's companion, but the 25-year-old realized he had done something that many with similar conditions would consider a chimera. Saki spent 15 years in the central region with his mother, but after struggling at school, Emmanuel joined his father, Samuel Saki, in Choko. There, Emmanuel developed an affinity for boxing, often following his peers to numerous gyms. Samuel, who once pursued the sport and gave up at a young age, was initially dismissive.
I told him I couldn't box, and there's no way he could, so I won't let him. He was swimming at Choco, and I was told boxing was better as compared to swimming. So he followed the young boxer to the gym. They had some amateur fights, and they decided to fix him, and I was like, he had not trained enough to be part, but after fighting, they noticed he could fight and gave him the chance.
Saki found his home at the Warriors Boxing Gym in Kukumlemle, often taking lessons from Alfred Tete. Communicating with Saki demanded more than words. It required rhythm, repetition, and deep mutual trust. Tete crafted a visual and gesture-based system tailored to Saki's unique needs.
Sometimes, I don't know how to do that sign language. He don't do any sign language. But what we do is, whatever I want him to do, I have to demonstrate it. Because I'm a boxer, I'm a former boxer myself. So I'll do it for him to follow it. If he's going to fight somebody, what I do is, I'll get the opponent, the one who's going to fight with. I make sure I get his videos. I will study him. That's what I normally do. So now me and him on the training grounds, now I'll teach him.
Saki has earned the respect of his peers and elders. They view the 25-year-old not as a boxer with a disability, but a fighter with a dream and immense potential.
It gives me joy that a physically challenged boxer has managed to win this. It encourages others with similar situations to even do better.
Next 2-3 years.
I think if he works harder, he can become a world champion in the next 2 or 3 years.
World champion.
With every punch, he shattered expectation. With every round, he rewrote what was possible. He's not just a champion. He's a symbol, not just for the deaf, not just for the differently abled, but for anyone who's ever been told they can't. In the language of courage and grit, Emmanuel Saki is fluent, and the world is finally listening.
Interesting report there by Bilish. And let's now bring you some international news.
A state funeral has been held in Iran for about 60 people, including military commanders and nuclear scientists killed during the 12-day conflict with Israel. Coffins draped in the Iranian flag bearing portraits of deceased commanders were flanked by crowds near Tehran's Engelab Square. The conflict ended with a ceasefire earlier this week after the U.S. became directly involved by bombing key nuclear sites in Iran. Huge crowds of mourners dressed in black chanted slogans, waved Iranian flags and held portraits of those killed. Among those laid to rest on Saturday was Mohammed Bagheri, the highest-ranking military officer in Iran, who was Chief of Staff of Iran's armed forces. Hussein Salami, Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, and nuclear scientists including Mohammed Mehdi Tehranchi, head of Azad University in Tehran, were also among those laid to rest. The funeral was attended by prominent figures including Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Rear Admiral Ali Shamkhani, an advisor to the country's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In total, Iranian authorities said 627 people were killed in Iran. Israeli officials said 28 people were killed in Israel following missile attacks by Iran.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I'm Ayisha Yakubu. Have a good evening.